Hey, welcome to episode 6 of the Slightly Fuzz podcast. Shout out to Dunes on this episode. They have a song called Circles on the Slightly Fuzz playlist on Spotify. Up next, we have Ryan Garney. Okay, Ryan Garney from High Desert Queen, Lick of My Spoon Productions, Ripplefest Texas, newly signed to Ripple Music. Also turns out you are a teacher. You are a busy person.
Yeah, that's the real job. The other stuff I don't let my students know about. But
I was going to ask,
man, I'm really happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. What are you a teacher of, and what grade level?
So I've been teaching English for quite a while now, 15 years actually. I don't know where the years go, but I've been teaching English, and I coach. So I'm senior English, and I'm a varsity boys basketball coach. This will be my first year that I will not be teaching English. I'm teaching what I actually went to college for finally, which is audio and video production. The only drawback, which is going to be awesome, I can't wait to teach it. The only thing is, I learned, 15 years ago, so the software is a little bit different now. But I'm looking forward to get in there and teaching those classes.
And your students have no idea the other stuff, the peripheral stuff, the band, anything like that?
They are no. High school kids are pretty savvy when it comes to technology, and as the band has done better, a lot of them have put 2 and 2 together. I'm interested to see what's going to happen this year, because right towards the end of the year, it kind of like, I don't talk about that. I just go about my business. I am Mr. Garney, and I teach, and then I'm on the court. I'm Coach Garney. But as the year went on last year, and we started getting more press, because our single had come out, some kids found it, and they discovered it. What I'm curious to see about now is they've had a whole summer to let that kind of snowball, and then we had a music video come out last week, and I'm at in-service. School isn't back until next week, but I've had teachers who've even seen it, so I'm like,
yeah.
This is going to be interesting.
I'm so fascinated how that turns out, because I mean, I didn't have any cool teachers when I was in high school, and even if they were like closet metalheads, they certainly weren't in bands, and they certainly weren't getting their arms ripped off in a music video.
Yeah, but see, here's the deal. Maybe you did, and you just didn't know. Who knows? Like, I haven't said anything, but
what does like the faculty think of all of it? I'm sure they know, right?
They do. In fact, I'm sure we'll talk later about Ripplefest. But see, Ripplefest was here where I live in my hometown, and there were some teachers there, and that kind of blew me away. They didn't make the connection.
Real fans, or because you were there?
There's a couple that did. I knew that were. Yeah, like I was there, and they're like, "What are y'all doing here?" Like, "Oh, I put this together, and I'm going on stage in a little bit." Like, what? And then there's a couple there that did know, and because I have some friends within teachers that I'm like okay with saying, yeah, this is actually what I do for fun, and so a couple of them came, but what's funny was the ones that came without any knowledge, they were there to see like another band, which was really cool. I'm like,
that is really cool. Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, that's a strange thing.
It's been fun, man.
At least you're not in like some death metal band and it's really gory and violent and disturbing. It's a pretty positive type of metal that you're into, so it could be worse.
Yeah, I'm not right. I'm not in Cannibal Corpse or gore or something like that, where I'm spraying blood on people in the crowd and singing about the devil or anything. So I think I should be okay.
Yeah. That's interesting. So, all right, let's talk about Ripplefest. I'm so jealous of what's going on in Austin, because I lived there for a year and a half in 2015, 2016, and it was great. I mean, every weekend we had something awesome to do. There was always festivals and concerts and anything else going on. We traveled a lot. We went around Texas. We did all sorts of stuff, but there was no Ripplefest. I think the year that we left, Queens of Stone Age played ACL, so I missed that by 6 months or something. Now Joe Rogan's there, and there's about to be a comedy boom down there, and Ripplefest again is something I was so jealous of when I heard about it happening. So So congratulations on that. The lineup, the fact that it was in Austin, it looked like an awesome festival.
Yeah, it came together really well. And as you're right, there's a lot going on down here, and there is a massive wave of, like you said, there's a comedy thing happening right now, but there's really like there's always been a lot of music here, but there's certainly a wave of, I think sometimes it gets misclassified if you just by calling it stoner rock. I know we're considered stoner rock, but really just heavy rock or hard rock. But there's a lot of really good bands right now, and it's kind of cool to be a part of a scene that's exploding. And Ripplefest is that's kind of what made Ripplefest such a success. Really was the scene. Like I can't take a lot of credit for it. I mean, when you book good bands, people will come, right? That's the main thing. But it kind of just spawned as an idea. So my band, we had been signed by Ripple. We hadn't announced it until recently, but we had been signed. And there was another band, good friends of ours here, Holy Death Trio, who had also been. So we're both what's called Blasko artists. So Blasko is the new A&R of Ripple. He heard our song, which blew my mind. He heard our song, and when I'm getting a call from Blasko, that was one of the coolest days of my life.
You only have one song out, right? At this time, he just heard one song and was like, "That's all I need." That's awesome.
And I'm telling you, man, it was super cool. We had an album done, but we only released a single to kind of see what was out there. And he heard it and then immediately reached out to me. He was like, are y'all on a label? And I said, no. Did you have any more music? I said, yep. Sent it to him, and like 3 days later, we were putting the ink on paper. It was really cool. But anyway, so I reached out to Todd, the CEO of Ripple, and I was like, hey, we got this idea of doing like, I've seen y'all do Ripple Fests like around the world, and like it'd be kind of cool to do one in Texas because there's never been one in Texas. And they had started to sign several, like just in like 2020 alone, they signed several Texas artists. And so really the idea was just to have the show of like the bands that just got signed by Ripple, like us, Holy Death Trio, Thunder Horse, who's a great band out of San Antonio. I've been playing with, loving those guys for years. Several different bands, we go way back, and so we had a good relationship with them. And so we're like, let's just get a couple of these bands and a couple of these Texas artists. There's already some good bands up, like Mothership. That'd be awesome. That'd be the ultimate. But we probably aren't. It's probably not going to get that big. But what's cool about Todd is I called Todd like, hey man, let's do this. He's like, you don't need my permission, man. He's like, just go for it, do it. And I didn't know what I was doing, so I just kind of said, all right,
Did you already have Lick of My Spoon, or was that how Lick of My Spoon was born?
So yeah, but see how Lick of My Spoon was born was we were originally a Houston band, and then I moved out this way. I took a teaching job out here, and my guitar player still lives in Houston, but then we got our drummer, Phil Hook, just a massive beast. Good buddy of mine, Matt Metzger, plays bass. They live out this way. We got together. I was like, man, I want to book some shows, but nobody knows who we are. We barely got going in Houston before I moved out here. And like we only played a couple shows really. And so I created the Lick of My Spoon moniker really just to book my band. And that way I wouldn't be like, I feel more professional saying, hi, this is Ryan from Lick of My Spoon Productions. I'd like to book a band called High Desert Queen. Just it made it sound more professional. There was really nothing else to it but that. And then like we got out here, and then the world shut down, and I kind of was like always trying to get right in the live music is hurting badly, and I just kind of reached out to a lot of bands, and Lick of My Spoon kind of grew that way just by building a relationship with bands, because as a band who's nothing, just a local artist, we've been screwed over by different people, and had a great show and not getting paid. And we're like, oh, I guess just how it is. We don't know any better. And I decided that I want to do something where like everybody gets paid, and like, because there's no middleman, it's me, and I'm just like here, and that goes to the bands, and so it started working out really well. So I had Lick of My Spoon, but it was not at the level until Ripplefest happened. I had a festival happen the month before, but they were all being booked at the same time. It was an idea I had called Lone Star Unleashed, which was we had 20 bands all from the state of Texas, and it went really well. It just kind of became a perfect storm where the world opened, and I had a great relationship with the bands. They were awesome. We kept like pushing the date back. World opened. It was the first festival, so it just went really, really well. But with the Ripplefest thing, I'm talking to Todd about, well, I like to book some bands, and he's like, go for it. Well, I was, kind of hoping you'd help me with that, and then he did without like directly helping me. Like I would reach out to all these bands, and then I'd be like, hey man, I think I have Wino. Like I think Wino wants to. I may have Wino because Wino is all about, hell yeah, I'm coming to Texas. I want to play in Texas. It's the greatest place in the world. He was all about it. And once I got Wino, it blew up. That's when Mothership jumped on, Freedom Hawk. Like Todd was instrumental getting Freedom Hawk down there because they're way up in Virginia. And so Todd was like, yeah, I'll get him down there. It was great. So that's when Todd was huge. Where
I was going to say,
like,
I kind of watched it grow. I feel like I remember seeing at least like the initial lineup promoted and being like, oh, that must be the headliner. And then like a week later, I'm like, oh shit, that's the headliner. And then a week later, I'm like, oh shit, that's the headliner. And then a week later, I'm like, holy shit, and then it just kept growing. And I was like, this is the best lineup I've seen in so long as any festival.
And we had fun with that because we did have the lineup fully intact when we started doing those teasers. Like we knew. But when I was contacting bands, like when I reached out to someone like one of the first bands I booked on it was Bone Church, just because I'm a fan. Like I love Bone Church. They're awesome. And if you're familiar, they're fantastic. Yeah. And I have a newfound respect seeing them live. Unbelievable. But I reach out to them and they were just super cool because they were just road warriors, man. They drove down like from Connecticut. And at the time, but I'm reaching out to them, I'm like, yeah, man, I don't know how many bands it's gonna be. It's my band who's not even announced yet on Ripple. We've got Thunder Horse, we've got Holy Death Trio. I think at the time I reached out to like good friends of mine, Mr. Plow, because we played with them in Houston, and a couple bands. Like we don't have a lot, but I'd love to have you come on. They were in, and they were like, cool. And then just kind of started growing. But then eventually I was able to write Mothership and say, hey, Mothership, I've got Wino. And so they were like, yes. And then I was able to go, hey, Freedom Hawk, I've got Mothership and I've got Wino. And it just kind of exploded, And what was cool about this show was that everybody on the bill had some kind of connection with Ripple. And that was kind of unique. I think Todd really appreciated that. And that really honestly was my idea. I just didn't know it would grow to such a massive lineup. Like all of a sudden I turn around and I got 15 bands and I'm like, crap, now I have to actually make this work. I've got the band that all said yes. Now I've got to make I got to work the lineup logistically and I got to sell some tickets. But
yeah, man, it's a testament to how awesome Ripple really is as a label. They have amazing bands on Ripple, but not all of them were signed to Ripple, correct? I mean, there's a few that aren't, but a handful of them are.
Yeah, most of them were signed to Ripple, but then bands like like Mr. Plow, they did an album in like 2009 with Ripple. It's been a long time. And then like Switchblade Jesus is no longer on Ripple, but the original release was on Ripple, and so everybody had some kind of connection. And it was really cool. It was really cool to book like Grail out of Arizona. Phoenix, Tempe or Phoenix, Arizona. They're like high school kids, man. Like high school kids, and I knew that. And it doesn't hit you until they roll up in a van with their dads, and I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever,
Yeah.
And that was Blasko, because Blasko, they're a Blasko artist as well, and he told me, say, hey man, these guys are really. People started hearing about Ripplefest because we were announcing it. We just didn't announce any bands, and the amount of bands I had to turn down was remarkable. Like I never thought I'd be in a position to tell bands, hey, I don't have any room, and good quality bands too. But it was really cool to get bands like that, and there's some bands like Foster Mother, that have a Ripple connection, but it hasn't gone through the full announcement yet. Like they're out of Houston, that's going to be on Ripple. So everybody had some kind of connection, which is cool. As we work, as I work on, like I've already started working on Ripplefest 2022. and there may not.
Illinois.
Yeah, we're doing a big. I'm going to do another big 2022 bash in Texas. But here's the deal.
Illinois.
Well, here's the deal. Like, here's my thing, and I've talked to Todd about this, and I've always, I want to take it on the road. Like, I want to take, that was even my plan for this year, but with COVID and everything, that was definitely out of the. And honestly, I'm not ready to know. I don't even know how to do all that. So, but I'm the kind of person, like, I'm going to figure it out. And so my goal next year is to take it on the road, get a core group of bands, and then have those bands play around. So maybe in Rockford, Illinois.
Yeah.
But as I work on that show, what's cool is what I love about Todd, what I love about Ripple, and we've only been in the family for a little bit, and I'm sure you've heard that expression, the Ripple family, because I can't express to you how much it really is a family. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Everyone's taking care of each other and looking out for each other. And Todd's very meticulous about who he signs. Because he wants them to be not only a good band, but people that understand that concept of a Ripple family. But what I mean by that is that Todd does not care if I call something Ripplefest and if I have a band from Heavy Psych or a band from Metal Blade or somebody else, another label, because he's like, man, if it helps the scene, it helps everybody in the end. And that's such the greatest attitude to have, which is why he's successful.
Yeah, I've heard him say something about that. I think, a few months ago, I saw an interview with him or something like that and saw him say pretty much just that he just wants to support the scene, whether they're a Ripple band technically or not. And that's such a cool attitude to have, but it's, it shows through in his company. I mean, it's the best. Yeah. It's the place to be if you're in the scene. And that's why he's so successful, is just that attitude.
Yeah, because you can't go wrong with attitude. And it makes me or my job booking 2022 that much easier, because I don't there are no handcuffs saying I can only book Ripple bands, because there's a freaking lot of good Ripple bands, but it allows me to even go like just a bigger name, like reach out.
I mean, you could make a festival just out of Ripple bands for sure and have no problem with it. But the fact that's not even an issue is, an amazing, it's a testament to him, and it's an amazing concept.
Yeah, so it's been really cool working with him, and like I said, I look forward to making Ripplefest 2022. It was very successful, the last one, but I think we're gonna go bigger and better. There's talk of, like I said, I want to take it on the road. There's been talk of making it a multiple day festival. I'm not sure. I did my homework, and I look at festivals like ACL, and I look at festivals like Lollapalooza, and how they all originated. And they were all like Ripplefest. They started as a one-day thing. Mm-hmm. And it took several years for them to become a multiple day thing and become a multiple city thing. So I'm pacing myself. I'm going to do it the right way. And
people don't understand how much work really goes into those kind of things too. And I worked for an association management company for like 10 years, and we put on week-long conferences with thousands of people. And you have to think about hotel rooms, conference rooms, meeting rooms, exhibitors, sponsors, networking hours, and after hours where you're going to eat, the name badges, the registration, how to take money, signage at the event, the promotion beforehand, the emails, and it takes a real team to do all that stuff. And it's got to start a one day, because you learn so much the first time, no matter what you're doing.
Because I had no idea how to do any of those things, and I learned about a lot of those through booking this. And luckily, from like veteran bands, like there's some veteran bands I booked that would ask me a question like, "Oh shit, I don't know the answer to that,"
Yeah.
But that let me learn like what I had to do, which makes me so much more prepared for the next time. But what's great about that Lone Star Unleashed festival was easy, because it was all Texas bands. Everyone knew that they were going to, it's just, you kind of fend for yourself. You just make the trek. I'm going to pay you. We're good. But when you start booking bands from Virginia and Connecticut and California, you start getting into all other things, which is interesting. And right now I'm a one-man operation, and I'm going to have to get some help. But the coolest thing that's ever happened to me, I'll be hitting you up, but is that I get obviously it's super cool to get, letters from or emails from bands asking to be part of the show. And that's just like, that happened. It was like so humbling and like, wow, they're actually reaching out to me. They want to be on a Lick of My Spoon show. That's cool. But I got my first resume. Like somebody sent me their resume, and I was like, damn, that's pretty cool. So I'll be reaching out to that guy for sure.
That's
I didn't
awesome. Yeah.
ask. He just, hey, just sent it to me. So that's pretty cool. That made
So
me
tell
feel
me about
pretty
the
good.
rest of the festival, because all I've seen so far is some videos, the stuff that you guys have posted on Instagram. I saw one YouTube video of a guy that kind of like walked around all day and like did some interviews and did some live shots and stuff like that. But aside from the obvious, the awesome lineup of bands, how was everything else? Food or merch or activities or what was everything else going on?
It was pretty cool. The venue was pretty impressive. It was kind of an unknown. It's literally we were saying Austin. It's kind of between Austin and San Antonio, and this
the ski ranch, right?
The ski ranch, yeah.
So when I lived down there, like I said, I lived down there for a while. We went to the ski ranch for this thing called Jaws on the water.
Yeah, exactly.
And
exactly
they like set up this big screen in that grass middle part, and then everyone like is floating on inner tubes. It's late at night, it's pitch black, and they play Jaws. So my girlfriend and I went to that when we lived down there. It was awesome.
And see, that was about all I knew about them, other than they have the cables for the wakeboarding and skiing. And so my original plan, so it's funny that not many people make this connection, but with the Ripple label, I wanted water involved. To me, it just kind of made sense. And so my original plan was to because they have a stage out there by the water, and I wanted people to sit in tubes and watch the show because like I had been to Psycho Las Vegas. I don't know if you've ever been out to that festival before, but the best thing about Psycho Las Vegas is the first day they have a pool party, and so it's in a big swimming pool, and it's just like it's super awesome. And I was like, all right, I want to do that, but Texas style, like bigger and better, right? And that was the original plan. It didn't work out because I found out they make an extremely large amount of money off their skiing, and if I was going to shut down their skiing park, it was going to come out of pocket a lot. And so I was like, well, I'd like to use your venue because people can still swim there and stuff, and that was cool. But then we moved it indoors because, well, the Texas heat. And I had done a festival a month prior, and it went really, really well. But it was like borderline, like, all right, it's about to get really hot.
I went to the X Games down there. It was in June when 2015, I guess it was, and it was at the Circuit of Americas. I think I'm pretty sure it was Circuit of Americas, and for whoever designed that place, being in Austin, Texas, and having summer events, there is not a lick of shade in that entire place. And you kind of get used to that Austin heat after a while of being down there. You get a little used to it, even when it's 100 degrees. But there is no escaping the sun at that place for some reason. So it's brutal no matter what.
And that's why I was concerned, because the festival I'd done previously was at a bar or a venue called the Far Out Lounge. Lots of shade. It was great. It was easy, right? Even though it was hot, you could escape. But it needed to be outdoors because of we weren't sure what was going on with COVID restrictions and things like that. But then the ski ranch does not have a lot of shade, and it would have been very, very brutal where the stages are. And they have a large event center, so we moved it in there, and it was great because then the coolest thing about that was we hired the best hire we had. I have to give it to John Rosales from Holy Death Trio. He helped me out with the suggestion. I was like, man, we should probably get the Mad Alchemist Liquid Light show. And I'm familiar with him because I've seen him do like shows that I've always wanted to go to that I never got to go to. And that was the best hire, the best money we spent, because we walk into that place and it's like you walked into a different universe. It was so cool.
It made the photos super cool too. I mean, you were inside just this blank room, and it could have been real boring. And it made all the photos, the videos, everything look really, really cool.
Oh man, it was like you could just walk in and sit and stare at the walls. It was amazing. So it was super cool because that was a big thing too. We hired several people. You'll be seeing more videos come out. We hired some videographers and some photographers to come out and get some photos because we want to build, promotions for the next year by using footage of. We had none this past year. We had because it was the first year of the event, and so it'll help. And we knew that having the Mad Alchemist Liquid Light show there was going to make it look that much more unique and professional. But what it's also done is it means we're going to have to get them every year because it was awesome. So that Liquid Light show alone was phenomenal. Of course, when you got 15 bands of merch tables, you can go broke real fast because there's a lot of cool merch to buy. Ripple had a cool setup there. They were selling a lot of their merch. They even had like Ripple shot glasses, which is super cool. It's a big deal everywhere, but in Texas is a big deal. They had food there. There's food trucks. It was really cool. Like I'm really happy with how it went down.
Very cool. So High Desert Queen, tell me about High Desert Queen. I know you guys played, and I haven't seen like a full set or anything like that. Like I said earlier, I know you guys have one song, and then I saw another one come out with the Ripplefest playlist on Bandcamp. There was a second song. Mm-hmm. How does a band that has one song get signed to Ripple Music and play this festival and have a full set? You said you have a new album. I know you have a new album coming out. You guys have pre-orders up now, I think. So tell me about High Desert Queen. How long you guys been playing together? How's that going? Where is it going in the future?
So a lot of that is I told you, I touched on it earlier. It's a lot of luck and kind of wild how the Ripple connection happened, because we only have one, like I said, we had one song. We still only have one song out. In fact, the second song that's out, "Roll the Dice," is actually a song that got cut from our album. We deemed it not worthy of meeting the album. That was, with us and Blasko, all because he's executive producing. We deemed it not worthy of making the album. But what's so cool to me is that then Todd deemed it good enough to be the 4th track on the Ripplefest Texas compilation, which was like really humbling. I'm like, man, that's just so cool. We just thought that song was just never going to get used. Yeah. But anyway, we had one song out. Like I told you, Blasko reached out, got us that connection, because we had probably played 2 live shows, with the current lineup that we have. We had played 1 show before we had gotten signed, which I know is ridiculous. We have no album out. It's just, don't ask, like people ask me, how'd you do that? I don't know, man. We're completely blessed, very lucky. We were lucky with getting a lot of really good advice from people. Like I will always ask for help. You can only be as good as the help you get, and you always ask for help. And because it was a struggle. The album was a struggle because my first album was basically written by my guitar player and myself. My guitar player, Rusty Miller, is a riff machine. He just never stops writing. He has we call it, they'll send a riff, I'm like, put it in the vault, because there's so many to put in the vault. But he and I basically picked a bunch of songs. We wrote them. When I moved out here, we needed a rhythm section. And I was very, very fortunate to get, who I mentioned earlier, Phil Hook, who was in a band called Monte Luna. And ironically, High Desert Queen, one of the last shows I think we ever played with the old lineup, was also his last show with Monte Luna. And we just happened, when I moved out here, we happened to be in the same area. I reached out to them, started talking. And it really started off as, hey, will you help us write an album? We have these songs done. Can you help us out? And then when he puts his signature on it, it just went to a whole new level. And like I said, my buddy Matt played bass for us. But we literally, when we started recording the album, we started recording it in February of 2020. So we recorded we did the drums in a weekend, because our drummer's a beast. I don't know how he did it, but he got it all done in a weekend. And then the world shut down, like 4 days later, shut down. And even the studio we started recording at shut down, like for good. And we didn't know what to do. We're trying to find a studio that would, first of all, open and not be okay with us coming into a studio, because everyone was weary about what was going on. We got in, we went to Red Nova Ranch. It was recommended to us from good friends of ours, Austin band called Greenbeard, who was recording there. And we went there, and Jeff Henson's awesome. He's a great producer. He's a guitarist for the band Duel, if you're familiar with them. Yeah. They're really good, really good. And so it's cool to go in there. He helped us finish the album, and it was great. And we kind of sat and wait because we didn't know what to do at that point. But probably one of the best decisions we made is I sent the album, a couple tracks, to a man by the name of Carl Daniel Leiden. He is an engineer out of Sweden. He had done some of my favorite albums that's come out in the past couple of years. Lowrider, Refractions album,
Definitely.
Which is just that album just crushes. It's such a good album, and I love the way it sounds. And that's a big deal with the band is like we had a band that or these are our songs, but it needs to sound like we wanted it to sound, and he had that kind of sound with Lowrider and with Greenleaf, with a band called Domcraft that we really like. So like obviously he's got a great catalog of artists, and I was like, there's no way we're gonna get this guy. But I emailed him. I emailed him kind of a cold email and sent him a couple of songs. He wrote me back. He loved the songs. Was like, man, I would love to mix and master. So he did, and I really think that took it to a different level. Although we still had no connections with anything. But then
there's a difference in sound between the Mountain versus the Quake that has been out for a while, and the one that you just put out like on Spotify. Does that have to do with this?
Yes. So the old version we're now calling the demo version. The new version is the album version, which is the Carl Daniel Leiden mix, and he is a beast. I mean, I'm amazed at how good he's able. Like I'm always like, hey man, thank you for making it sound better than we are. I appreciate that. It was awesome, but it had that raw sound with big rumbling bass. We needed our drummer, who's a beast. We needed him to be heard on this album, and the drums just come through so fat on this record. We're so pleased with it. But when Blasko had heard the demo version and he liked it, and he reached out to us, and he's like, "Do you have more music?" And I sent him the Leiden mixes, and that's why I said it would move fast. He got back and he was like, "Okay, we need to get this in writing. Let's get this done." And that was a very quick conversation. Talking to him, we're like,
yeah,
okay, yeah, that sounds, okay, sounds great. And but he's been awesome because he really knows what he's talking about. Obviously, he's been in the industry for so long, but he'll tell it to you straight. He'll tell you like when you write, we wrote 12 songs. We're like, these are our babies, and he's like, nope, these 4 cut. And we're like, oh, like it hurts, it hurts so bad. But then you realize, like when you start listening to the piece of the puzzle you put together, like we agreed, and then we went back and forth so much on like things like album art, because he's so right in how this is our debut album.
Let's talk album art, because I bring up album art on every single one of these podcasts because I'm always fascinated by it. I have a lot of years in art and design and all that stuff. So let's go there. Tell me about the album art. I think it looks really cool, and it looks a lot different than the Mountain versus the Quake single artwork too. So was that a Blasko decision, or where'd that art come from, and how'd you guys land on that concept?
It was, so we had because we were ready to release the album independently. Like the album's been done, like I said, for a year, and we were ready to release it independently, hopeful, that a label would pick us up. But just in case, we were like, man, we don't have an album out. No one's going to pick us up. We got lucky. So we had art already done, and I'm very, very proud of the art. Like that was just single art, but we had art done,
which looks great. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It fits the scene, it fits the music, and there's nothing wrong with it at all.
Yeah, Steven Yoyada, who's a beast. He's
everywhere.
He's everywhere, man, and he's good at everything he does. He did my Lick of My Spoon logo, like he does that all. He's great, But and it's great for the single. And then we had other art done by another artist, and I sent it to Blasko, and he's just straight up going, "This is really good. It's not good enough." And we're being like, "Damn, like, what's up with this guy? This art's awesome. This is so good. What are you talking about, But he was awesome, and he used his connections to get us in touch with several artists, something that we could not have done. Like if we were just doing this ourselves, it'd have been like, all right, we get an artist and we pay for it, and if we don't like it, then we're kind of out of luck, and we can save some more money and pay for another artist. But he had the resources to be like hired out like several artists, And this guy Solo Marcelo, I believe he's out of Spain, I believe. And the art, he came up with this incredible art. But Blasko and I kept going back and forth because I was like, man, this is amazing. And then he'd be like, it's too pretty. Like he would always have this little feedback. And I always question him until I realized he was right just about every time. So I was like, okay, I can't really ask Case anymore. But then, so we had what we thought was our album art. And because it's this beautiful piece of art. And then ironically, the art that is our album cover, Solo just did on his own, and he posted it. And the day he posted it, like I saw it like 30 minutes in, I go, oh my God, that is badass. And I screenshot it, sent it to Blasko, and he's like, damn, that is badass. See if he'll sell it if it's available. So I asked him, it's available. He pulled it from his website. We tweaked it a little bit with a couple things we asked for, and it became the album art. What I'm even more excited about is the other art I told you that was like incredible is going to be the inside art, and it's like
I was going to ask. I was going to ask what happened to that then.
I can't wait because then he adapted it because it was just formatted to be a cover, but now he adapted it to be this fold out. Oh man, like I think people are going to flip when I'm going to flip out when I finally get to hold the vinyl and open it up. But I'm we're very proud of it. Obviously we had no part of it. It was that Blasko's drive to get the right art, because he's right. He said that this is your first album. We only get, and I understand you only get one chance to make a first impression. And he's like, it has to really stand out. And he wants something that like people look at, if it's a blip on a magazine or a website, somewhere small, it's recognizable. And I think the colors, because they're vibrant, I think
the colors are
does
awesome.
that. Yeah, so it's gonna be really, really cool. We're very, very, very thrilled about that. And
that's nothing against Steven's artwork either, because obviously his artwork's insanely cool and a lot of people use him in this scene. And I love the artwork, and it definitely goes with stoner desert type music. But seeing the artwork that you guys went with, it just looks like you guys have like elevated to another level of band and music and everything else. Steven's artwork is fantastic and great for t-shirts and singles and albums too, and anything in between, anything that he wants to use it for. But the artwork that you went with definitely elevates you as a band, in my opinion.
And Ryan, that feels really good to hear that, because that was exactly Blasko's intention. And I'm like, he definitely delivered,
for sure. It looks great.
Because he definitely delivered. And the artist delivered big time. So it was one of those just things that just came together really well. And because Blasko's really big on the fact that, because we've all done it. Music heads like us have all done it. I have bought albums simply based on the album cover.
100%.
I all the time, especially back in the day, when you had to go to like the CD store or whatever, like at the CD exchange, you're like, this looks cool, I'm buying it. I've done it so many times. And
well, even now, right. Like I get a lot of music recommendations from YouTube or Spotify, and I go through so many new albums a day. I'll go through 10 a day just listening to new stuff. So if I see 50, I'm only going to pick the 10 that have the shit that looks like it. I might like it. I'm not going to like just dive into some album that I'm not into the artwork because it doesn't look like I want it to sound. So therefore I'm not even going to take a chance on it,
It's crucial. And like I said, it's like you know that. And so when you're planning it yourself, you have art, you think it's good, but then you deal with someone who's been in the industry and as successful as Blasko is. He humbles you, and he like, because you think because I'm aware art's important, but then he tells you like it is, but this is good, but not good enough. And that's what's cool, because to your point, he's like, this art's really good, like the art that Steven did. He's like, this is really good. He's like, but this is going to label you as straight stoner rock, and because our album is not. We have some stoner rock songs, we have some doom songs, we have some songs that could have just because we're all influenced by the 90s. That's what the grunge rock. That's what I grew up on, and so we've got like a lot of different style songs on the record, and that he wanted that to be portrayed. He thought that and it's a credit to Carl Daniel Leiden, the engineer, because he says he's like, man, this is at a level of a recording level. The job he did, of course, he's like, the performance of you guys on the record's great, and then the mixing is great, so the art has to be great. And I really appreciate him doing that for us. Todd is a really smart guy getting Blasko involved with Ripple. It's only going to take it to another level, I think.
Yeah, and he's signed so many good bands just in the last year and a half or whatever he's been doing that, and he's definitely making an effect.
Making waves, as we like to say in Ripple.
For sure, yeah. So last thing has to be the music video, because I watched the music video just a couple days ago, and it's awesome. It's got it's kind of almost like a Red Fang humor to it, where it's like it's funny, but it's heavy and just outrageous, and I loved it. It's a great video. And how'd you guys come up with all that?
Well, thank you for the kind words, because that was a blast to make. And it's funny how music videos work. So I had a completely different concept. So I wrote the concept for this one, but I had a different concept written for the album, for the music video. Sorry, and we kept getting things would come up because we had a deadline. So Ripple needed that we were releasing it August 11th. We released it just 4 or 5 days ago, and so we had a deadline to get it all mixed and edited. And we're like, oh man, and things kept happening. One thing happened. We just couldn't get on the same page with our crew to film it. And so literally we hammered out a date. We filmed that on August 1st, and then it was done like August 5th, which is crazy. Yeah. The guy who directed it and shot it, his name is Casey Coker. I've worked with him before on other film projects. I wrote like a comedy pilot that didn't make it because it never made it, but he helped me shoot it. And so he's extremely talented, and he's got a weird mind like me, which is perfect. So when I'm calling him about like, all right, so we got to scrap the last idea, we got to do something quick. And so I came up with the idea that, first of all, to your credit, to your comment about Red Fang, we're huge fans of their music videos, right? Like I'll watch them over.
It's such a blast.
I'll watch them.
They're low budget. They're so fucking funny and so outrageous. They're great.
I know, they're hilarious. They're great, and so I've always loved that. And we also like the band. We all grew up in the era when music video meant something. Like when a music video was premiering, I was in front of the TV watching it, and it was usually something like had a skit before, and then the music. It followed a concept. It wasn't just always the song. Because what's beat to death right now is hey, here's a band who plays in a warehouse, like an empty warehouse. It's way overdone, and I will not do a video like that. It has to stand out. And so the concept was, so when I wrote the song "The Mountain versus the Quake," it's actually from the perspective of it's personifying a mountain and personifying a quake, an earthquake. It actually is, because I kind of look at a mountain as being so majestic and so bad. There's nothing that can defeat a mountain except an earthquake. But it's like the mountain's like, bring it on. I don't care. Like it's kind of, it's personified. It's I don't want to give away everything what the song's about, because it's very like it's the English teacher in me, man. Right? It's very it's metaphorically speaking a lot in that for what I like to let people decide what they want it to be about, right? But it was definitely written personified from those perspectives. And so we were like, man, it'd be super cool and funny to have like, how do you have like a mountain actually get in a fist fight with a quake? Like how do you actually do that? I was like, man, if you had a budget and we could animate it, we could totally do that, but we don't. And so I started just thinking about what could be funny. And it really was just me talking to my brother, spitballing some ideas about how, man, what if we had these, so the mountain is a character. So I'm Ryan Mountain, and then we have Frank Quake, and they're both fighting for a position. And we're trying to think of something that's so stupid and ridiculous, like that carries no weight, like them wanting to be in the karaoke company band, like nobody, like it's so insignificant, but and I had this concept where like, so because in the song, the mountains basically win, so I knew that I had to win, but it's no fun to have the guy you want to win. So I had to have it to be where it's like everybody loves Quake and he's like the man, and they're like, oh, I can't wait to see this guy. And I'm like, wait, what are you even doing here? They're not supposed to be here. And then we just go at it. And what was great about the props I wanted, my only request when I was telling Casey about this idea, the guy who filmed it, I was like, I want it to be like a B movie, because I'm really into like B movies and like 80s and 90s action films, which by the way, that's why I always, if you follow us on Instagram, I always do like the movies that doom posts. That's something that I just started doing because I'm adamant about movies that doom, and we're going to incorporate that into our other music videos. We've already got them mapped out.
I love that. Yeah,
it's gonna be cool. But anyway, we'll talk about our album release. Remind me to talk about the album release because that's going to be involved. But the when I'm talking to him about it, as my other request is I need fake blood. I need fake blood, and I need cheesy.
Lots of it.
I need lots of fake blood, and I need cheesy like fight action where it's like obviously fake, you know. And it was perfect because he had just got done. He's like, man, I was actually just working on this horror film, and I've got some props left over. And so he had I had the idea to have an arm ripped off, and because it's just ridiculous. That's just stupid. And he's like, well, I got fake hands. I'm like, perfect, let's do it. And then he had a prop of like an eye, like a pencil in an eye, and so we put that. That's actually my wife that I throw a pencil and she loses her eye, so it's kind of funny, but it's a little inside joke that I injured my wife. But so we had all this fake blood and stuff, and I couldn't be more happy with how it came about.
It turned out great.
Did an amazing job. He edited it so quick, and I told him like, man, it's super low budget, but if we had just done a video of like us playing in that office room, that looks like super. He did a great job. It looked really, really good.
Yeah, it did.
But it's just hilarious that we're in so basically my concept was office space meets Fight Club meets very bad B movie. That's kind of what we went with, and so we had a blast. The feedback we've got is awesome. The biggest thing that I was scared of is like we just got talking earlier about Blasko. He'll tell you straight like nope, yes, no, whatever. So we had no time to like get it approved. We got it done. We filmed it on a Sunday. I had it sent to him by Thursday because we had to have it done by that Saturday. It had to be like loaded and ready to go. But I was so nervous. We sent it to like all the Ripple people and Blasko, and I just we're so nervous. And then when Blasko came back with like, yes, this is what a music video is supposed to be. This is the right mind. Oh, then we were like relieved, and we were actually playing a show that night in Galveston, and I got the text. We were about to go on stage and go, oh, hey guys, check it out. And we were all fired up and made that show even that much better. So it was really cool.
Because it doesn't really matter with the music video, whether it's like super well produced, high budget, like amazing music video, or like $7 on a budget, as long as it makes an impact, right? That's the point, is make an impact, entertain someone for 4 minutes. And that's the point. It doesn't matter if it's, exactly. he can talk about the artwork has to be a certain caliber, but like the music video is different. It has to be totally different things. It doesn't have to be high production or high cost. It just has to be engaging and entertaining for 4 minutes,
And what I love about it is it set the precedent of like a music video is much more personal than a record, like, so people are going to look at the record. It's super polished. It sounds super polished. It's very well produced. The artwork is really clean and beautiful. But then here you got this freaking music video of a bunch of dudes fighting in an office scene where I got my arm spraying blood on people and someone gets their eye stabbed with it. I mean, it's ridiculous because that's who we really are. Like we're very serious about the music, but man, like we like if it doesn't make me laugh, I'm what's the point? That's kind of how I am. So I like it set the precedent of like that's the person. That's kind of who we are. That's actually who we are as people. Like we're stupid, crazy, always joking around kind of guys. But we take the music very seriously. So that's what I really like about it. We do. In fact, I've got it all mapped out. We know what our next single is going to be off our album. It's a song called Heads Will Roll. And that alone, just let's there's going to be a lot of fake blood in that one already. So my only request is that the guy who's filming it said, hey, can we not do it in 8 hours? Because we did all that like in 8 hours. I was like, yeah, man, we'll do a couple days shoot and get it mapped out. And we're hiring an actor that I know who's really good, and it's gonna be really, really good. And we're gonna be filming a music video at our album release party too, which will be cool.
And when is the album coming out?
To segue into that, there we go. October 15th is when the album is released, and so we can't wait. Obviously, it's going to come out on the 15th. Obviously, because I want everyone to hear the record. It's going to be I'm really, really proud of it. And we're already writing, like we're already ready to go in the studio for the next one. That's what's so weird because this has been so long, you know, like we're already we're already over the music. We're like, oh man, we're ready to get to the next one, you know, like we're already ready. So we're so anxious to get this out so that we can start playing music from the next record, which we kind of already have because that's what happens at our live show. Our live show is very crazy too. We'll improv half this. Like I told you, I'm very lucky. The guys behind me are so talented that they can be like, hey, you know, I'm just a singer. It makes my job easy. If they start improvising, I just walk off. It's cool. And then I come back when I feel like we're probably going to go into the chorus again or something. So it's kind of cool. But the album release, we're doing a big party. Going to do a big blowout in Austin, and it's going to be a Hydrogen Queen album release and Movies That Doom costume party. So it's going to be really cool. We're gonna have like costume contests, and we're gonna encourage like, you know, costumes from your favorite like 80s and 90s action film, like Mad Max and, you know, Commando and all the really terrible 80s movies that we love, you know, from the day, you know, Rambo and you know, we had to get like female characters in there, right? So we've got aliens and, you know, just give me, I want a girl to show up in a badass Sigourney Weaver costume, you know, because she was like my heartthrob back in the day. So that's what I need, you know, or like a really badass like Sarah Connor, you know, costume, or somebody please do Tina Turner in Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, right, with the big old chainmail shoulder pads. And anyway, it's gonna be awesome. But we're also gonna be filming a music video because we have a third music video concept that it's going to all tie into. So it'll be
Where
cool.
Is that going to take place? The release?
It'll be in Austin at a bar called Swan Dive. It's right in the Red River District. I don't know if you got familiar with the Red River District when you were down living in that area.
Like Swan Dive sounds familiar. Yeah, I'm not sure, but it sounds familiar.
It is. It's right across. It's pretty much walking distance to Stubbs and
I think Mohawk. I saw Red Fang. I saw Red Fang at Stubbs. Actually, I'm pretty sure when I was down there.
Such a great venue, and that area is great because, like, being a Red River rat is the way to do it in Austin because it's all like rock, hard rock, metal, stoner, doom. Like that's like the area to go. If you any night you can go down there and you're going to catch, you know, some kind of.
I kind of missed out when I was down there. Honestly, like I don't think I was super into any of this at that point. Like I was into like a small portion of some of these bands and hadn't quite like just jumped over the cliff yet. And this was like 2015, you know, it was like 6 years ago or something like that. But I probably missed out on so much being down there because, I mean, we did, you know, blues music and country music and we did all sorts of music related stuff, but I don't think we did a whole lot of doom and stoner while we were down there.
And I want to say it's probably was just getting going around that time. You know, there's been kind of a resurgence of that genre. You know,
definitely.
Queen of the Stone Age, who you've got behind you, is a big reason for that. You know, their records started. They're the what I call the crossover band. They're the stoner rock band that stayed true to the roots, but just happened to go mainstream, and not just mainstream, like explode, you know, like got huge, and it allowed a lot of bands that kind of hard rock edge to kind of have a chance to be heard. So it was really cool.
Both of these bands back here, Queens of Stone Age and Truck Fighters, like I was such a big fan of Queens of Stone Age, and I was getting so bored with like heavy metal, just metal music and like death metal and shit. I just got kind of tired of it. So I was like, I need to find a band like Queens of Stone Age, but that has new music. And I'm like, does it exist? And I was on YouTube and I'm searching and listening to stuff and trying stuff. And then Truck Fighters came on just from like a algorithm recommendation. And I was like, oh fuck, what is this? And then it was so
awesome.
Then I just dove in and head first from Truck Fighters and Queens. Really, I think that was kind of the start of all of it.
Truck Fighters just another one of many incredible bands in that genre that are out of Sweden. It is ridiculous how many good bands are out of that area. But Truck Fighters are great. I love Truck Fighters, and like Caius was my gateway band, you know, like to the stoner, you know, desert rock, and so it was just natural that, you know, I continued that with Queens of the Stone Age, you know, with Josh Homme carrying it over, and some of the other members like Nick Oliveri and those guys are in the early days. So it's awesome that they hit it. And Caius was kind of the band that crossed over too. Like they were this those, stoner desert band that wasn't very big, and then they blew up and started touring with Metallica,
Yeah, exactly.
So it's funny how Josh Homme kind of did it twice, like he's a super talented dude to do that, which is amazing. But the whole, when you were in Austin, it probably just started picking up, and now I'm telling you, there's so many good bands. Like, I'm at the point now where I'm like telling Todd, like, and Ripple, like Blasko, like, hey man, you might want to jump on some of these other bands that are down here. They're really good because somebody else is going to. There's a lot of talent down here. We're just lucky to be a part of that in some shape or fashion.
Yeah. Well, there's so much good music just down there in general. You're in a good spot for all of it, whether you're into this kind of music or not. It's unreal.
Yeah, absolutely. But we're looking, and I know you're in Illinois, so once the album comes out, we're hoping to hit the road we'll probably hit it really hard in 2022, and we're looking to get up to the Midwest. Our drummer is from Indianapolis, and he's adamant about, like, he's toured a lot with other bands and whatnot, and he's adamant that a lot of people are always like, let's hit the West Coast or let's go down Florida. Man, he's adamant that for heavier rock, the Midwest is the way to go, and so I'm gonna take his word for it. And I'm totally cool with it.
We're only a couple hours from Chicago, but if I can make a case for Rockford, it's called Rockford for one thing. Come on, right?
Which it's already gonna look great on a poster. So
exactly, we have a Hard Rock Casino coming to town. You got a great venue there you can play at, and it's home of Cheap Trick. All right.
Oh, there you go. What else do you need? Sold.
Yeah.
Well, I know. See, my parents, we're from Texas, but they retired in St. Louis. So they lived in St. Louis. So I'm like, we got to go through there because I can get a home cooked meal on the way up to Illinois or whatever else, So it's definitely going to happen. It's definitely going to happen. We're putting together some pretty exciting things because it's so weird that we're even talking about touring when we still only have like one song really out. But like we're gonna play in Scotland next year. We're already booked on this festival called Red Crust Festival in May of next year, and it's perfect because it's like we play on like the 28th. School gets out the 25th. I'm like, perfect. So I see you kids, and I'm gonna be flying to Scotland. But then we're planning a European Europe tour of some kind. While we're over there, we're in the process of doing that, which is mind blowing. And of course, I reached out to bands like Truck Fighters. And of course, I reach out to bands like Lowrider because they can only tell you no. But that's the one takeaway I've learned about all of this from Lick of My Spoon and from Hydrogen Queen is I'm not scared to ask people. And I guarantee you that's why, like, I asked Blasko, hey, check this song out. And look, and we got signed. I'm not scared to like do that. And so whoever listens out there,
that's what you got to do. I mean, just you being on this podcast is a good example of that. That a lot of people were like, well, I know this guy that might kind of be in a band and he could be on your podcast. And I was like, no, I'm going to ask these bands that I like, and I'm going to ask Ryan Garney to be on here. And you said yes. So here we are.
And man, I can't even begin to tell you, like, I'm still humbled anytime anybody asks me to do this. I'm like, he wants to talk. I don't know why, but I told the band, I tell the band, I'm like, hey, I don't know why this guy, because I've seen some of your podcast. He wants to talk to us. I guess we'll give. I'm gonna do it. And several of them, my drummer's in a session right now, so he apologized he couldn't be it. My bass player was putting down two of his kids. He's probably good now, but we're probably at the tail end. And then my drummer's always doing sessions. He's a session drummer, which is why he's also so good. And so he was doing sessions, which ironic, by the way. Most of his sessions are like country music. And if you were talking earlier about like seeing, like you would go see some blues artists or some country artists, if there's ever like a country or blues drummer, you're like, damn, that guy's a badass. Guarantee you he's a rock drummer paying the bills with country and blues music because that's what pays the bills.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Guarantee you. Yeah. Guarantee you. But no, man, I'm completely humbled that you asked me to be on this, and I'm really thrilled to come on. And I hope, when the album comes out, obviously I hope good things happen. Hopefully you'll want to have me on here again because
hell yeah,
I'd love to, man. It'd be cool.
I'm really looking forward to the album. I'm really looking forward to it,
man.
and I'm really looking forward to Ripplefest Rockford. And
yeah, keep pushing it, man. Keep pushing it. I like it.
So we're almost up on an hour here, but I want to do this little game that I call Real or Fuzzed, and I made a special version just for you. With instead of album covers, we're gonna do concert posters. Since you put on Ripplefest, I made concert posters. So I'm gonna put up 10 rock, metal concert posters. Some are real, some are fuzz, some are fake that I made, and you're gonna tell me which is which.
All right.
So this is the first one. Catastica.
Catastica. Man, I hope that's not fake. That's badass. But I have to give you an answer, huh?
Tell me if it's real.
I want it to be real. I want it to be real so bad that I'm going to say it's real.
Yeah, this is real. And funny story is I actually have this poster when I was down in Austin. You can see here down at the bottom.
Flamingo Cantina.
Yeah. So I was walking down the street with my girlfriend in Austin, and I saw this poster up on the wall, and it was already past May 16th. And I was like, this is the most absurd poster I've seen ever. I'm taking it. And I took it, and I have it still in my office.
And that thing is phenomenal. I mean,
it's great. Yeah.
Look at the girl. She's got, I mean, speaking of movies at Doom, we got Total Recall. The girl has 3 boobs. This girl's got 8.
It's a great poster. No idea what Catastica sounds like, but it's such a good poster. So that one is real.
And Flamingo Cantina is a fantastic venue. I hope it's still around. I don't know if it is or not, but it's an awesome venue. All right, what we got? Because that's awesome. Catastica.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. All right. I'm already intrigued by White Lodge as being a Twin Peaks fan. Astro Boner with Metropolis. This is awesome. Once again, I want to say I want it to be so bad, but I'm going to say it's fake.
This one's fake. Yeah. This one
That's awesome, though. Because first of all, I'm a huge Twin Peaks fan. So I saw White Lodge, and so I think it was White Lodge and Black Lodge. But the Astro Boner, if that's not a real band name, it definitely needs to be.
Yeah.
Astro Boner. That's awesome. Diarrhea Planet. Wow. Lincoln Hall, Chicago. By the way, I'm going to be at Lincoln Hall, Chicago. We're going to go. My wife and I bought tickets. If you're in the area, we're going to be going to see Resin and King Buffalo there. So keep that in mind.
Cool.
Because I know that Lincoln Hall, Chicago is a real place, I'm going to say real.
This one is real. You're doing pretty good. I thought that would throw you off with that one. Diarrhea Planet and this random astronaut cat. I don't know. I thought that I would get you on that.
Yeah, but cats are such a big part of Doom, I'm finding out, and mainly from Blasko, that I'm all about it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Blasko does love his cats, doesn't he?
Oh, big time, man. All right. Oh, that's a fantastic name, Jack Officers. That's awesome. Thursday, the Cave Club. Man, Jack Officers. That's all. I'm gonna say real.
That one is real.
All right, I'm 4 for 4. Man, I'm getting nervous now.
Yeah,
I'm getting nervous. Bad Taste Tour. Bukkake. This is awesome. And Twatsicle. Too fantastic to be real. This is fake. This is Fuzz. Sorry.
Yeah, you got it.
This is Fuzz. That's too Fuzztastic right there. That's too Fuzztastic to be real. That's awesome.
You're doing way too good at this.
Bukkake said, "Oh, that's awesome. That's a great name, Bukkake syndrome." Oh, I love the cow. I love the cows. Cows are great. Pocket Fisherman and Faucet. It's so ironic that Fisherman is misspelled. That's the English teacher in me. So I'm gonna say fake, unless that's probably a stoner rock band that spells it that way. But I'm gonna say fake.
I actually don't know the cows at all, but this is real. This is a guy that makes a lot of like Melvins posters and stuff.
Well, see the cows. I've seen the cows with Melvins.
Okay, yeah. If you see some of his posters, they all look kind of like this and stuff. They're really vibrant and stuff. But this is a real one.
And that's an awesome poster. Actually, if you have that artist's name, I'm going to get it from you when we're done. But
I'll give it to you. I forget what it is off the top of my head. But.
So that's a classic example of another band. Like I have this idea of doing like as a teacher being the Dr. Stoner Rock or Mr. Stoner Rock, Professor Stoner Rock, and I was going to make fun of all the bands that don't know how to spell, like their band names that add extra letters or put Z's instead of S's and stuff like that. Well, I'd have to add Pocket Fisherman to the list. But I could be wrong. Cows, I believe, Dale Crover, the drummer, I believe, was in Cows for a while. So I could be wrong, but I know there's some kind of Melvins connection, more so than just the artist.
There's probably a lot of Melvins connections. Those guys are busy.
All right, so those guys are awesome. Nashville Pussies, a fantastic band. So I'm gonna say real.
This one is real. Fantastic poster, also.
Yeah, it is. I love the stockings there. The pantyhose looks like it's got on or something. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong when your band's already Nashville Pussy. You probably can't make a bad poster.
I'm shocked by the amount of bands that actually have pussy in their name for real bands.
I agree.
And big names, semi-big names.
I agree. Yeah, they're huge. All right, so I missed one. I got to make sure I have a passing score. It's the teacher in me here. So, Pearl Jam with Supergrass. That would be an awesome show if it was a long time ago. Desert Sky Pavilion. I know that's a real place, so I'm gonna say real.
This is fake. I did this one.
Oh, dang it! I mean, I can only miss. I can miss one more, and that's it.
Yeah, this was actually an old ad. It was an old ad for like a washing machine or like a dishwasher, I think. And this was a real tour. Pearl Jam did play with Supergrass, but I put it on this fake poster.
That's what I thought, because I thought they played together for a while. So, oh well, it's good stuff though. All right. Ooh, I've seen this poster. This is real.
It is real.
Yeah, I've seen that poster.
There's so many good Queens posters. And I just thought this one was like one of the more absurd ones. Maybe I'd get you that way. Actually, honestly, I thought about putting this one in there and just seeing if you noticed. But we talked about it.
It was right over your shoulder. Yeah. Yeah. All right. How many more left do I got? What number am I on?
I think this might be the last one, actually.
So I have to get this. So I can even get this wrong and I pass. That's good. I'm happy with that. But I'd like to get that B. Yeah. So let's see. Seventh Man Productions, Eat the Rich. Man, the Melvins. I'm going to have to say real, because the Melvins make some really strange, obscure posters.
They do. And this is Fuzzed.
That's a Fuzzed one, man. You should definitely hit the Melvins up, because that's a well done, strange poster. That fits them perfectly, man.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, that's well done. I guess I have to hit you up for posters, man. There's some really good ones in there.
Anytime.
Yeah, man.
Well, that was fun, man.
Was fun. I passed. I got
a
70. That's a 70. That's fine by me.
Yeah. Yep. I appreciate your time so much, man. And I can't say how big of a fan I am of the festival, and I'm so excited for High Desert Queen. And thank you so much for taking it out.
Man, I'm beyond humbled to have been a part of the show. Like I said, I hope that you ask me to be back again at some point, because hopefully you don't hear the record and go, I'm not getting that guy back. So hopefully it's worthy of coming back, because I had a lot of fun, man. And you can try. I got to improve upon my 70 score next time. So that's why I'm ready. I'm definitely ready for that.
Anytime. All right. Thank you so much. We'll talk later.
Absolutely. Good talking to you, Ryan. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.